John Green, and this is Crash Course World History. Today we'll be discussing the effects and results of slave labor, maritime trade systems, and the explosion of interaction between the different...
Mr. Green, wasn't the only result of the slave trade America? And technically all this Atlantic trade only traded with slaves, so technically the trade was evil and worthless and the trade shouldn't even have been done.
No, shut up, me from the past. You know nothing about the complexity of the situation here. I'm gonna throw so many things at you. I'm gonna throw corn just to prove my point. I'm gonna throw potatoes. I'm gonna throw peanuts at you. Sorry, now that that's over, let's move on. Now, trading before the Columbian Exchange was really limited to only 3 continents: Asia, Europe, and Africa. Portugal was the only one gaining any real economic profit from the trading in the Indian Ocean, so when Columbus stumbled upon America, he created a lot of new good trading systems that benefited the whole entire world. Africa, the Americas, and Europe created so much trade that new inventions and items being purchased all around the world helped the global economy grow to the max. Now let's move to the thought bubble for more information. So after the discovery of 2 whole new continents, many European kingdoms saw the opportunity for wealth. Within this new land, there was tasty spices and huge areas of unclaimed land. So much land, of course, that there was bound to be some silver and gold somewhere that Europe really wanted. There was mainly a big problem though, because once Europe sent people over to the colonies to occupy the Americas, they really needed someone else. And like any good love story, there always needed to be a third partner. Now this third partner was a group of unsuspecting non-Christians who were used to like hard labor and totally didn't have feelings or anything, right Europe? Yeah, well, that probably wasn't such a good idea in the long run though. Thanks, Thought Bubble. Now, trading the Atlantic, as I said before, was mainly between Africa, Europe, and Asia. Now, that led to a variety of different things. Europe, unlike every other population, decided to enslave the African culture instead of just the native population. That actually turned out to be really beneficial because there was a lot of economic prosperity in trading the slaves, and also it created more exports to become much faster, creating the global economy to become more prosperous once again. Also, the social class system changed very much due to the slaves becoming now the lowest class, and political structures emerged that were completely different just to limit the slaves. Also, cultures collided and there was a blending of the African culture, European culture, and the new American culture. And kind of resembled a new sort of system, a caste system, from long ago. Now, although today we know slavery to be morally incorrect and not even legal, it was very common and successful back in the Americas. Populations in Europe grew dramatically due to an influx of foods such as corn. Foods that we associate with certain regions were never even heard of before the Columbian Exchange. Without it, there would be no oranges in Florida. There would be no chocolate in Switzerland. There would be no potatoes in Ireland. Potatoes in Ireland! Not even any sort of coffee in Colombia. Like, what is that? Oh, that reminds me, it's time for the open letter. But first, let's check what's in the secret compartment. Cigarettes? Oh, and is this school appropriate? An open letter to tobacco. Dear Tobacco, how are you so popular? Your health benefits are literally 0. Oh wait, I forgot. You have nicotine in you, which makes consumers practically have to buy you. That's why you're one of the major great cash crops of the world. Duh. And also, you're practically swimming in money across the Atlantic Ocean. You were the thing to invest in. Any of you, if you ever go back to the 1600s, invest in tobacco. Just don't smoke it. Best wishes, John Green. The significance of the Atlantic maritime system really lies in the lasting impacts that it created on the whole world. First, the concepts of capitalism and mercantilism were never even seen before and eventually adopted by the Americas and Europe due to the heavy amounts of trade. Instead of relying on taxes and agriculture to sustain a government, the free market created by trade allowed a government the flexibility to deal with an economic crisis. By giving companies loans in order to start businesses, they were able to still reap in the money from their treasuries while shrinking the effects that would occur with failure. Second, the new colonies across the Atlantic developed their own cultures, ideas, and philosophies. It was seen as a new beginning for most people, and it was a place where you didn't have to spend all day farming and working on the soil for agriculture in order to make a living. You could now start your own companies, do the joint stock companies and loans for richer people that were living in the Americas already. It influenced many people to come from Europe and created a whole new entire culture that diffused with the African culture being brought in and the also native population, although there was a lot of conflict between them. Well, that's all we have for this week. Next week we'll be traveling to the future for a special episode. What? That's impossible? Dang it, Owen, thanks for crushing my dreams. Well, it looks like we'll be traveling to the colonies next week. Hopefully there's nothing that goes wrong with that. See you next week. Hi there everyone, I'm John Green and this is Crash Course World History. Today we'll be discussing the effects and results of slave labor, maritime trade systems, and the interaction of other cultures within the Atlantic system. I fucking hate this! Now that that's over, delete it. Foods that we associate with certain regions didn't even exist before the Columbian Exchange. For example, Floridas and oranges.